Hi, my name is Claire Capsuto. I've loved your class so far, and this is my final book report of Sonic Boom by David Beckerman. I wanted us to begin with a silent meditation, taking note of anything you hear in your surroundings, make a list, pause this video, and come back in about 30 seconds to a minute and we'll share our list. Hi, welcome back. So here's my list. Birds chirping, wind in trees, truck driving, beep beeps of my computer, space bar, typing, clicking, shaking. I know some of these are descriptory, but it gives a good picture of what I'm sitting in. There's a lot of input going on, even though I'm trying to be in a quiet place to record this video. I bet you're having a very similar experience trying to be in a quiet place to listen to this video. Your list probably includes many things that you didn't notice before either. Well, the author does a good job using things such as this exercise to paint a picture of the influence of sound in our lives. Similarly, he does this so by walking us through examples, including the iconic chili sizzle, the Apple startup ding. I agree with the author that auditory branding is a power marketing tool, but I think he tends to exaggerate this beyond his reach. The author leaves several holes in his argument by skipping over relevant research in these areas. In a study by Kettles and Verman, sound affects the speed of visual processing. Processing speed was measured by reaction time with varying auditory cues. They found that visual cues are processed more quickly when accompanied by auditory cue, which shows how sound helps the brain process information. What happens when these noises are constant and distracting? Beckerman calls this sonic trash. The idea that soundscapes are clouded by noises that distract or annoy us. He's used the example of Jar Jar Binks from Star Wars, which is an example of sonic trash. How many people found him annoying to listen to? I know I did. And this was a really epic fail on the part of the person designing the soundtrack for this particular Star Wars, which I won't mention too much of because he's used in this book as an example. Anyway, silence is also discussed in this book, and I find that to be a very important tool. It was used in the beginning example that I used here with the silent meditation. The author cleverly called it negative space because it is the absence of sound. But what happens when silence is taken too far? The study that was discussed in the book was in a facility in Chicago where the walls and the ceiling and the roof were all completely soundproofed. People couldn't last more than 45 minutes in this room because they started to hear their own heartbeat, and their breath became so loud they couldn't stand being in this room any longer. This I found was really interesting and reminded me of sensory deprivation chambers, which I don't know if you've ever tried one, but they're really interesting. It's a chamber where, there goes a bug, you sit in a completely dark chamber in salt water where you can't hear, you can't see, and you can't feel. People have been found to hallucinate in these sorts of chambers. In a study by Carol Ricklin and Wiesen, they found that complete sensory deprivation caused some people to hallucinate, which I found to be true in myself. Anyway, I thought that was a very interesting study and method that shows how important our sensory input is into brain functioning. In conclusion, I have some problems with how this book was fundamentally constructed and worded. I did notice the difference of a before and after reading this book. I'm now more aware of my soundscape and this constant sensory input going on. I found this book to be interesting, but overall needing some work in terms of supporting it with research. My take-homes include the value of silence and the power of sound creating a desired environment. I want you to take home with you this practice of silent meditation, and that this book was actually pretty informative, even though it was lacking in some areas. Thank you.